The decade is the 1950s. The United States and the world is going through many historical changes. In 1950, the Korean War begins when North Korea invades South Korea, and the United States begins the development of the first hydrogen bomb. In 1953, Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay become the first people to climb to the top of Mount Everest. 1954, Ellis Island officially closes as a point of immigration in the US. 1955, Rosa Parks is arrested in Alabama after she refuses to give up her bus seat to a white passenger. In 1959, the Cuban Revolution ends and Fidel Castro comes to power, creating the first communist nation in the West. Although the United States and the world were busy giving attention to high-profile issues and events, hundreds of thousands of farm workers were tirelessly providing the nation and the world with a constant food supply. Imagine working in a field with the sun beating down on you. Working conditions are exhausting, you have no breaks, no bathrooms, and are paid very little. Although these farm workers were grateful to have work, they faced many hardships due to the poor working conditions. These workers needed a voice and a leader who would help them band together. They needed a champion of the people, and that champion was Cesar Chavez. On March 31st, 1927, the future founder and president of the UFW was born. He was born and raised in Yuma, Arizona. Cesar's parents lost their local farm and had to move to San Juan, California. There they had to work on other farmers' farms for money. Cesar went to school until he graduated the 8th grade. He dropped out of school because he was repeatedly teased by kids for speaking Spanish. This happened to most Hispanics who attended school. After he quit school, he decided to help his parents work on their farm. Cesar helped until he was 19 and then decided to serve his country. He joined the Navy and fought in World War II from 1944 to 1946. When Cesar returned from the Navy, he fell in love and married Helen Fabella. Cesar was now an adult and witnessed many problems on the farm. Women who were working on the farms would have children with deformities. In McFarland, California, with only 600 residents at the time, the rate of cancer was 400% above normal. Why? It's because of the pesticides in the crops being picked: lettuce, berries, tomatoes, and especially grapes. The crops would be sprayed with poisons, and farm workers would breathe it in. Farm workers were working in fierce weather conditions, breathing in pesticides, and not getting paid very much. Cesar knew this wasn't right. He decided to meet with Fred Ross Sr. about the farm crisis. Fred Ross, the 69th, was an American community organizer. He founded the Community Service Organization in 1948. Fred Ross agreed with Cesar about the situation. He decided to help organize and mentor Cesar to greatness. Cesar and Fred Ross went to work immediately, with the help of Father Donald McDonald. Fred Ross scheduled small local hearings at the beginning. The first speeches were designed to note the issues. Cesar would inform people on the pesticides and low pay. He would persuade people to speak up for what they believed in and not to be afraid. Little by little, people would rise with Cesar. This not only made Cesar confident, it made farm owners worry. The farm owners were losing their workers, and more importantly, profit. All of Cesar's non-violent ideas worked: strikes, boycotts, posters, speeches, and fasts. Cesar Chavez did many things in his life. One of his greatest achievements was help founding the United Farm Workers of America, which soon became the UFW. With the help of Dolores Herrera and Philip Veracruz, Cesar created the UFW. The UFW participated in some of Cesar's best plans: strikes and boycotts. Cesar mainly led grape boycotts, which decreased the grape farm owners' profit. The grape boycotts caused a violent retaliation from the farm owners, and they even pulled firearms on protesting workers. The Delano grape strike was the largest and longest strike Cesar conducted. It lasted from 1965 to 1970. The strike ended with a significant victory for the UFW. as well as its first contract with the growers. Cesar was happy with the win of the Delano strike. He was also pleased with having so many people join him. There were many strikes and boycotts. News about it was spread by propaganda. Cesar was doing a good job, but running out of ideas. What else could he do? What nonviolent action could work? Fasts. Fasting was Cesar's last resort. Most people didn't agree with Cesar on this idea. They knew it had consequences, and he was too old to be doing it. Cesar completed 3 out of 3 fasts. His last fast, however, which happened in 1988, really had a big effect on him. It was planned to be a 24-day fast, but went on for 36 days. That's more than an average month. When Cesar decided to quit the fast, the people had a mass. There he had a piece of bread. It was the first food he had eaten in 36 days. Cesar also encountered many difficult situations. First of all, farm owners would pull firearms on the workers, sometimes ending in manslaughters. The killings, or purges, happened only a couple of times. However, this scared Cesar. He did not want to put his supporters in an unsafe situation. People felt comfortable when Cesar was around, because nothing bad would happen. The Arizona Walnut protest was Cesar's most difficult speech he gave, because of what the people said about him. Cesar did encounter negative things in his progress, but most of the time, if not always, he took care of it. Cesar was a big influence all around the nation, not just the farmlands. He was in alliance with the former president's brother, Robert F. Kennedy. At the same time, RFK was running for president, and he thought he could get more votes by helping support the UFW. Like Cesar Chavez and Martin Luther King, Robert F. Kennedy is also known as a civil rights activist. RFK helped Cesar spread the news nationally. This also boosted up Robert Kennedy's chance of winning the election. This was working. Other states like Arizona and some of New Mexico started boycotting with Cesar and the UFW. Cesar Chavez was becoming a worldwide role model. He was showing how the things have been all around America. People from the cities were seeing what was put in the food they were receiving. Cesar Chavez was really showing his side's perspective. Cesar Chavez found ways to influence the nation and the world. Like Mexican workers, Philippine workers had the same issues. In fact, the Philippine workers helped start the United Farm Workers. Cesar showed all around the world that the fight was never about grapes or lettuce. It's always about people's rights to be treated fair and equally. In 1993, the UFW was being sued by a former grower from Cesar's hometown. To draw attention to the trial, Chavez decided to fast again, but this time, he was not strong enough. Cesar died in his sleep on April 22, 1993. The march that followed behind his coffin was bigger than any march he led. Approximately 25,000 people were attended at his funeral, rich and poor, on foot, in beat-up cars and trucks. The poor boy who had picked peas as a migrant worker had become a hero. No longer would workers be seen as tools or faceless people that employers could use and throw away. Cesar gave the workers dignity, hope, and a way to change their lives for the better. To quote Cesar Chavez, "Nonviolence is a very powerful weapon. Most people don't understand the power of nonviolence and tend to be amazed by the whole idea. Those who have been involved in bringing about change and see the difference between violence and nonviolence are firmly committed to the lifetime of nonviolence, not because it is easy or because it is cowardly, but because it is an effective and very powerful way." Cesar Chavez, taking a stand in history.